Zelensky labels Oval Office meeting as unfortunate and expresses willingness to negotiate peace. Zelensky proposes a partial truce to Putin for the first time to halt air and sea assaults. Germany's MERS secures a debt agreement to Zelensky labels Oval Office meeting as unfortunate and expresses willingness to negotiate peace. Zelensky proposes a partial truce to Putin for the first time to halt air and sea assaults. Germany's MERS secures a debt agreement to finance defense and infrastructure.
French university to support American scientists concerned about Trump's censorship, amid Trump's threats to withhold federal funds from schools permitting illegal protests. Authorities report arson of a dozen Teslas at a French dealership. New research indicates that memes facilitate the spread of conspiracy theories by connecting online groups.
China has greater flexibility in fiscal policy due to global uncertainties, according to the finance minister. HSBC marks 160 years in Hong Kong with an exhibition showcasing its history and innovation. Chinese Navy ships complete their Australian tour with a sail near a base hosting a U.S. submarine, prompting comments that Chinese warships in the Tasman Sea highlight the flaws of AUKUS. Meanwhile, American warships are deployed to the South Pacific Ocean, as the Chinese Navy navigates around Australia.
Los Angeles County has filed a lawsuit alleging that equipment from a Southern California utility was responsible for igniting the fatal Eaton fire. In another development, the U.S. Supreme Court has imposed stricter regulations on the Environmental Protection Agency's ability to monitor sewage discharges. Additionally, The Guardian has published a report suggesting that major egg companies in the U.S. might be exploiting avian flu to increase egg prices, offering them for sale at $5 a dozen.
A vaccine pill for norovirus appears promising in combating the winter vomiting virus. For the first time, female doctors in the UK surpass their male counterparts in numbers.
LeBron James is set to be the first player to achieve a total of 50,000 points in both the NBA regular season and playoffs. A Cheeto shaped like Pokemon was auctioned for $88,000. The smallest handmade sculpture ever created is a Lego brick that is the size of a blood cell.
Greenland's leader asserts that the island belongs to them, while Trump expresses his intention to acquire the territory, promising the people of Greenland that they will become wealthy. Meanwhile, China's premier declares the country's commitment to advancing the reunification with Taiwan. Additionally, Vance visits the Mexico border and assures that the U.S. will not invade Mexico.
Apple initiates legal proceedings in the UK concerning data privacy issues. In the United States, Utah is the first state to enact an App Store age verification law. The legal battle between Musk and OpenAI is scheduled for a swift trial this year, but the judge rejects Musk's effort to prevent OpenAI from transitioning.
Arab leaders endorse a $53 billion alternative to Trump's Gaza plan, with Arab states embracing Egypt's vision instead of Trump's Gaza Riviera. Israel eliminates a Hamas commander in the West Bank and a suspected Hezbollah member in Lebanon. The U.S. conducts confidential negotiations with Hamas regarding Gaza hostages, according to sources.
Trump officials indicate that the United States temporarily halted intelligence sharing with Ukraine, but they suggest this pause might be short-lived following a heated meeting. Meanwhile, the White House asserts that the suspension of weapons and intelligence to Ukraine will be lifted once.
Danish archaeologists have unearthed a wooden circle dating back 4,000 years, reminiscent of Stonehenge. In Karnak, Egypt, a treasure-laden pottery vessel from 2,600 years ago has been found. Additionally, archaeologists have identified the earliest knives, crafted from bone approximately 1.5 million years ago. LA Times reportedly removes new AI tool from story after it downplayed KKK, as just a day ago it only took a day for LA Times' new AI tool to sympathize with the KKK. Pioneers behind reinforcement learning win Turing Award, and Turing Award winners caution against unsafe deployment of AI models. Celebrite is utilizing AI to summarize chat logs and audio from seized mobile phones.
The UK has activated the largest battery in Europe, providing grid stability services. ADNOC and OMV are planning to merge their petrochemical companies, forming a $60 billion entity. According to Reuters, The U.S. is reportedly pulling out of a plan to assist major polluters in transitioning away from coal, as per sources. Trump warns of higher tariffs if Canada responds. Trudeau calls tariffs very dumb, claims Trump aims to harm the Canadian economy, and suggests Trump's objective in the trade war is to annex Canada. Mexico announces it will apply retaliatory tariffs on the U.S., with specifics to be released on Sunday. A Chinese credit ratings agency reduces Thailand's rating due to crime scandals and economic outlook.
Graph a significant moment in civil supersonic aviation. Jet Zero and Delta join forces to innovate air travel by developing a groundbreaking aircraft that is 50% more fuel efficient for both domestic and international journeys. China is addressing the stealth code and cracks of the F-22 using a 3,000-year-old silk weaving technique.
Wall Street Journal reports that Department of Commerce to overhaul Internet for All plan, expanding Starlink funding prospects. 7 days ago it has been reported as Musk's Starlink pushed by GOP for $42 billion broadband build-out. Fox News reports that Elon Musk PAC thanks Trump for saving the American dream in new $1 million ad. The IRS is drafting plans to cut as much as half of its 90,000-person workforce, AP sources say.
Giving up your phone for a mere 3 days can significantly alter your brain activity. A study reveals that the immune systems of plants and humans are more similar than previously believed. Cortical Labs introduces the world's first synthetic biological intelligence, operating on living human cells, marking the launch of the first commercial biocomputer utilizing human brain cells.
A record number of Americans sought UK citizenship following Trump's re-election. Canadian coffee shops reportedly renaming the Americano drink to Canadiano in response to Trump and U.S. tariffs, while viral photos depict a bald eagle and Canada goose engaged in an icy duel, symbolizing the trade war. Putin has reportedly agreed to assist Trump in brokering nuclear talks with Iran.
OpenAI has introduced Next-Gen AI, a collaborative effort involving 15 prominent research institutions. Meanwhile, Anthropic has discreetly taken down its AI policy commitments from the Biden era on its website. Additionally, Salesforce has unveiled Agent Exchange, which is described as the reliable marketplace for Agentforce. The zombie MMO Urban Dead, a cult favorite, is closing after 19 years, 8 months, and 11 days.
U.S. Immigration Service requests social media information from visa applicants. Nauru offers citizenship to support climate change initiatives. Mushers start the citizenship to support climate change initiatives. Mushers start the challenging Iditarod race following significant alterations due to insufficient snow, with the 2025 Iditarod dog race being extended to unprecedented lengths because of the lack of snow.
Alibaba introduces an open source model, QWQ32B, which achieves which achieves performance comparable to DeepSeek R1 with significantly reduced computational needs. Salesforce unveils Agentforce 2DX, an AI solution that operates independently throughout enterprise systems. Prime Video initiates a pilot program for AI-assisted dubbing of movies and series.
Analysts suggest that SoftBank's ARM will play a crucial role in propelling Malaysia's ambitious $270 billion chip industry objectives, with the country's fabless semiconductor companies expected to benefit significantly from the partnership with ARM Holdings. Meanwhile, former President Trump has advocated for the termination of the $52 billion CHIPS Act subsidy program, and the U.S. CHIPS Act office has experienced a substantial reduction in its workforce, losing 2/5 of its staff due to what is described as a Trump-initiated purge. Additionally, Reuters has reported that China is set to release a policy aimed at promoting the widespread adoption of RISC-V chips across the nation, according to sources.
Google has launched a new feature called AI Mode for providing overviews, incorporating the Gemini 2.0 model to assist with more complex inquiries. Meanwhile, OpenAI is considering a subscription model that would charge $20,000 per month for access to PhD-level AI agents. Additionally, Stability AI has secured an investment from WPP, which owns companies like AKQA, Burson, Hogarth, Ogilvy, VML, and Group M, with the aim of influencing the future of media and entertainment production.
Coinbase aims to expand in the US market by launching an initiative focused on tokenized securities. Meanwhile, Yuga Labs, the creator of Bored Ape, announced that the SEC is concluding its investigation, marking a significant victory for the NFT sector and leading to a 94% drop in Pump.Fund's trading volume as the memecoin craze subsides. Additionally, the CFPB has dismissed its Zelle fraud reimbursement case against JP Morgan and Wells Fargo, as Trump-era agencies continue to drop numerous Biden-era cases targeting crypto and other companies.
In the United States, the Justice Department has filed charges against 12 Chinese contract hackers and law enforcement officers involved in worldwide computer intrusion campaigns, part of a hacker-for-hire ecosystem including the APT27 group. The Silk Typhoon hackers are now focusing on IT supply chains to infiltrate networks, as Microsoft has issued warnings about Chinese hackers monitoring cloud technology. In India, starting the financial year 2026-27, income tax officers will have the ability to access email and social media accounts in certain situations.
Japanese automobile manufacturers are in a fierce competition to recruit software engineers as they advance in electric vehicle and autonomous driving technologies. Meanwhile, Hyundai has partnered with Avride, a spin-off from Yandex, to work on the development of robot Axis. Additionally, NPC Deputy Liu Hanyuan has stated that China might be able to cease importing oil from other nations within the next 2 decades.
A platform for gaming chat, is in the initial stages of discussions with financial institutions regarding the possibility of going public. Meanwhile, Meta is introducing its facial recognition technology, designed to combat scams, to the United Kingdom and Europe. Additionally, Dig is set to make a return, with its co-founder Rose and Reddit Sahanian investing in a revival powered by artificial intelligence.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup final will feature a halftime show similar to the Super Bowl, with Coldplay involved in the planning, according to Gianni Infantino. Netflix's content spending is projected to reach $18 billion in 2025, and its CFO states that this figure is not anywhere near a ceiling. DAZN and TNT Sport have formed a broadcast partnership for the FIFA Club World Cup 2025 in the United States. Macron declares that France must confront the Russian threat independently of the US. The Financial Times suggests that Europe needs to reduce its welfare state to develop a warfare state. The EU proposes a $158 billion fund to increase military spending following the US suspension of Ukraine aid.
Aspirin and ibuprofen may offer protection against dementia, according to a recent study. A woman with Down syndrome experienced Alzheimer's without dementia in an unexpected case. Engaging in muscle-strengthening exercises might assist older adults in addressing insomnia.
Reuters indicates that the United States is considering a strategy to interfere with Iran's oil operations by stopping ships in the ocean. North Korea has publicly displayed a nuclear-powered submarine for the first occasion. Canada is contemplating military expansion in the Arctic as a reaction to Trump's requests.
Putin insists that any peace agreement with Ukraine must guarantee Russia's security, and refuses to back down. Zelensky confirms that Ukraine will participate in U.S. peace talks in Saudi Arabia, 1 week following a disagreement at the Oval Office. Orbán announces that Hungary will conduct a public poll regarding Ukraine's EU membership. Trump indicates that he is contemplating imposing banking sanctions and tariffs on Russia. BBC News plans to establish an AI department to enhance personalized content delivery. DuckDuckGo introduces a new generative AI feature that provides instant summaries of Wikipedia articles. Christie's auction featuring only AI-generated art exceeds expectations, raising over $700,000.
Apple is reportedly planning to release a foldable iPhone in 2026, priced at $2,500, and equipped with AI features. Meanwhile, Volkswagen has introduced its most affordable electric vehicle, which is the first to utilize Rivian software. Additionally, Microsoft is developing new in-house AI models and is testing DeepSeek and Meta's technologies in its Copilot application.
received by Poland and the Baltic countries
for potential removal. An EU court imposes fines on 5 nations for insufficient whistleblower protection.
Axios notes a division among AI enthusiasts. It is said that a quarter of startups in YC's current group have codebases that are nearly all AI-generated. Hugging Face's chief science officer is concerned that AI is turning.
In Thailand, the court has terminated a 50-year-old regulation concerning student hairstyles. Formula One drivers are at risk of being banned for expressing criticism towards the governing body. Monopoly has introduced a new edition of its board game, replacing the traditional banker with an application.
In the United States, private prison companies are set to reopen previously closed facilities to accommodate immigrants. President Trump plans to withdraw legal status from 240,000 Ukrainians as the U.S. intensifies deportation efforts. According to Axios, the U.S. State Department intends to employ artificial intelligence to cancel visas for foreign students who seem to be pro-Hamas.
Glastonbury Festival 2025 has revealed its lineup, with Olivia Rodrigo, the 1975, and Charlie XCX as the headliners. Walt Disney is bringing back its 1927 animated character, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, to Disney, and Jon Favreau is planning to write and produce a TV series featuring Oswald at Disney+. Netflix is continuing its boxing series with an all-women event at Madison Square Garden.
According to Trump's envoy, China advocates for peaceful coexistence with the U.S. despite existing differences. The Philippines plans to sign a troops agreement with Canada as their defense relationship strengthens.
In the United States, a Guatemalan national has been apprehended, following an indictment that accuses him of orchestrating one of the most extensive human smuggling operations in the country. Approximately 20,000 individuals have been smuggled from Guatemala into the U.S. and subsequently transported across various states. Additionally, a $10 million reward is being offered for the capture of a former Olympic snowboarder, who is now suspected of becoming an alleged drug lord. Furthermore, the FBI has taken into custody a soldier who is accused of selling intelligence belonging to the United States Army to China.
Heat waves in 2024 led to increased electricity demand, which was met by a rise in coal generation. Wells Fargo has abandoned its net zero target as financial institutions adjust their sustainability approaches. Turtles are altering their nesting behaviors due to climate change.
Spain's government intends to expedite defense expenditures to achieve 2% of GDP by 2029. Concerned about Trump's policies, Poland's premier suggests exploring nuclear options, while Tusk envisions extensive military training for all adult males to enhance reserves. According to The Telegraph, Trump might move U.S. troops from Germany to Hungary. A study indicates that scheduling surgery right before the weekend is generally not a good idea. A South Korean team has created an Iron Man robot designed to assist paraplegics in walking. In the United Kingdom, non-browning bananas have been approved for a March release. 1 year ago, the Philippines approved gene-edited bananas aimed at reducing food waste.
Stanford Medicine research suggests that a naturally occurring molecule matches Ozempic in weight loss while avoiding side effects. Individuals suffering from long COVID experience restoration of their sense of smell and taste through innovative surgical procedures. A study reveals that not all generics are the same, highlighting a 54% increased risk associated with Indian-produced medications.
Attributed to a Trump bump, as its global sales have decreased. Consequently, Elon Musk's personal wealth has dropped by $121 billion due to the decline in Tesla's stock prices, according to a recent report. In an effort to promote transparency regarding Doge, The Intercept has released Musk's government emails. Additionally, U.S. Marshals were involved in escorting the Doge team into an African aid agency, leading to a lawsuit against Elon Musk after he used the Marshals to take control of the agency. Just 2 days ago, African aid workers prevented Doge staff from entering their small office to terminate employees.
Gallup has revealed that fewer than half of the people in the United States now express sympathy for Israelis. Meanwhile, Axios has reported that Israel expressed its disapproval of the secretive discussions between the United States and Hamas during a tense telephone conversation. Additionally, in the context of the Iran nuclear deal negotiations, Donald Trump has sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, proposing negotiations regarding the nuclear deal and cautioning of severe repercussions if these talks do not take place.
The United States is considering prohibiting the Chinese application DeepSeek on government devices, according to a source. China has introduced a government-supported venture fund valued at $138 billion, which encompasses quantum startups. Larry Page has established a new startup focused on artificial intelligence.
Podcast. Revolut and Visa initiate legal proceedings against the UK payments regulator. Garantex cryptocurrency exchange faces disruption in its international activities, with two administrators accused of running a multi-billion-dollar crypto money laundering operation. David Sachs claims that the U.S. missed out on $17 billion by selling seized Bitcoin prematurely.
Moscow-based disinformation network Pravda, linked to Portal Combat, reportedly inserting false narratives into AI models. Iranian hacker group Cotton Sandstorm is incorporating AI into cyber influence operations. Authorities issue warnings as online scammers exploit deepfake AI-generated images of Pashinyan. In the United States, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency (OCC) has provided clarification regarding the authority of national banks. Donald Trump Jr. has firmly rejected rumors of a presidential campaign, delivering a statement laced with expletives. Meanwhile, Hunter Biden has requested the dismissal of a lawsuit concerning his laptop, citing financial difficulties. Additionally, the Trump Organization has filed a lawsuit against Capital One for closing its bank accounts 4 years prior. FIA and Formula One have given the green light for Cadillac to join the competition in 2026. President's task force specifically for the FIFA World Cup 2026. Hollywood studios are resuming their advertising purchases on X, coinciding with Elon Musk's growing political influence.
In the United States, Treasury Secretary Bessent emphasizes that the American dream is not centered around having access to inexpensive goods. Meanwhile, Fed Chair Powell states, no hurry to reduce rates despite the volatility surrounding Trump, expressing confidence in the economy amid Trump's tariff disruptions. Additionally, Bloomberg highlights that Americans are falling behind on car payments at the highest rate in decades.
The EU refutes accusations of targeting U.S. tech companies, stating that the U.S. is also addressing monopolization. The Commission stands by its digital markets regulations amid U.S. criticism. Meanwhile, in the U.S., federal authorities have abandoned their attempt to force Google to sell its AI investments, although they continue to pursue the sale of Chrome. Additionally, Nasdaq is participating in exchanges to facilitate round-the-clock trading.
An Argentine official has stated that the city needs to be reconstructed following a storm that resulted in the deaths of 10 people. Meanwhile, the governor of New York has issued a state of emergency due to a brush fire on Long Island, which is being fueled by strong winds. Additionally, scientists have reported that global sea ice levels reached a record low in February. U.S. imposes trade sanctions on Switzerland due to alleged unfair practices. Trump suggests that co-hosting the World Cup with Canada and Mexico during a trade war adds excitement. China reaches agreements to purchase Ukrainian peas and wild aquatic products.
Doge is reportedly beginning the implementation of a personalized chatbot to streamline certain government operations. In the United States, the House GOP is proposing a plan to prevent a government shutdown by reducing spending and increasing defense allocations, while also introducing a Trump-supported bill to achieve this goal. Additionally, the Trump administration has decided to maintain the merger guidelines established during the Biden era.
As young as 11 are being targeted by criminals involved in sextortion. A study reveals a significant rise in non-fatal exposure to fentanyl among children in the United States over the last 10 years. Beijing plans to introduce AI courses for children to enhance the growth of the sector.
Increased screen time is associated with the development of bipolar and manic symptoms in U.S. preteenagers. Manufacturers of snacks are taking steps to eliminate artificial colors from their processed products. Men who exhibit anger are often viewed by women as having lower intelligence.
Thousands in Nepal are calling for the restoration of the monarchy due to increasing public dissatisfaction with the political situation. A far-right Romanian candidate who supports Russia was prohibited from participating in the presidential election 10 days ago. Additionally, this candidate was detained and charged in connection with an election investigation. Former Philippine President Duterte dismisses the potential arrest by the ICC during his visit to Hong Kong. He also assures Filipinos residing in Hong Kong that he never committed crimes against humanity.
Following a disagreement with Poland, Elon Musk has assured that Ukraine will continue to have access to Starlink, emphasizing its crucial role as the backbone of the Ukrainian army, and warning that the entire front line would collapse if I turned it off. Recently, a conflict arose on X between Poland and the US regarding Ukraine's access to Starlink, with Marco Rubio and Musk confronting the Polish foreign minister, accusing him of fabricating information. Earlier, Poland had expressed readiness to explore alternatives to Starlink for Ukraine if Musk were to be deemed unreliable. Additionally, the U.S. has reportedly partially halted its support for F-16 fighters in Ukraine, as mentioned by Forbes. Furthermore, there are reports indicating that Russia is making progress in Kursk, which poses a threat to Ukraine's only territorial leverage.
China warns of intensifying measures against Taiwan if independence efforts rise. China is leading in shipbuilding statistics, which poses a concern, according to an Indopacom official, 2 months ago. By 2027, China will have 12 times more fighter jets than the U.S., potentially outnumbering the U.S. fleet in crucial areas, as stated by a senior official. The Washington Post reveals that Meta, led by Zuckerberg, allegedly contemplated sharing user data with China, based on a whistleblower's claims. Additionally, Meta is accused of trying to implement Chinese censorship to gain entry into the Facebook market.
Research indicates that seed dispersers assist plants in ascending mountains to evade climate change, highlighting the role of plants in Mesoamerican cloud forests in this process. Approximately half of the well-known tropical plant groups associated with birds of paradise and bananas face the risk of extinction. The study asserts that the ozone hole is recovering due to worldwide efforts to decrease CFC emissions.
Financial Times reveals that Chinese investors secretly acquire shares in Elon Musk's enterprises. Google removes references to diversity and equity from the Responsible AI team's webpage. Trump announces that the U.S. is engaging in discussions with 4 distinct groups regarding the sale of TikTok.
Inhibitory neurons. Neuralink, led by Elon Musk, seeks to trademark the term telepathy.
Mark Carney is set to become Canada's next Prime Minister after securing the Liberal leadership. In July 2024, an assassination attempt on Trump led to decreased support for partisan violence and heightened group unity. The EU is making plans to allow Ukraine access to the single market as part of a peace agreement. The United States has declined the G7's proposal to address Russia's covert oil tanker fleet, opting instead to concentrate on China. The U.S. indicates that Ukraine is prepared to advance with its truce request. German legislators propose a Euro-eyes espionage network due to doubts about U.S. intelligence, while the U.S. halts its commercial satellite imagery service for Ukraine. U.S. examines egg suppliers amid rising costs. Gucci and Prada shut additional stores in China due to decreased luxury expenditure. Trump administration terminates Iraq's exemption to purchase Iranian electricity. The market for service robots in Japan is expected to grow threefold over the next 5 years. In a groundbreaking development, scientists have created a new micro-battery design that converts nuclear waste into electricity. Meanwhile, TarLogic has discovered a backdoor vulnerability in the widely used ESP32 chip, which is found in numerous smart devices equipped with Bluetooth, posing a potential threat to millions of Internet of Things, IoT devices.
Puppets dating back 2,400 years,
characterized by dramatic facial expressions, were found on a pyramid in El Salvador. The remains of a child from 29,000 years ago were discovered in a Thailand cave, accompanied by symbols of blood and power.
Stem cell therapy trial successfully reverses previously considered irreversible damage to the cornea. A new cell transplantation technique has been shown to reverse type 1 diabetes. Preliminary research indicates that aspirin might inhibit cancer metastasis by enhancing the immune response.
Damien Chazelle's movie about Evel Knievel, featuring Leonardo DiCaprio, might start shooting this year. Ben Stiller, the director of Severance, likens Lumen Industries to Apple and mentions he has never once received a critical note. Justin Lin collaborates with Keanu Reeves on a tough action film titled BRZRKR. Russia's inspections on China-Europe rail freight are leading to delays. Argentina has sent military forces to address a large fishing swarm led by China near its waters. Theft of coffee beans is increasing in the U.S. due to rising prices.
Reuters has announced that CoreWeave has secured a $12 billion cloud contract from OpenAI, according to sources, prior to the company's IPO. Additionally, Reuters reports that Meta is initiating the testing of its inaugural AI training chip developed internally. Furthermore, Roche and Zealand Pharma have entered into a $5.3 billion agreement concerning a novel obesity drug candidate.
BlackRock's Fink warns that Trump's deportations will significantly affect agriculture and construction. HSBC reassesses its European stock outlook, lowering its U.S. expectations due to reconsideration of Trump optimism. In the United States, Representatives Ocasio-Cortez and Luna propose a bill to limit credit card interest rates to a maximum of 10%. In the United States, Homeland Security has revamped its asylum phone application, which is now intended for self-deportation. A Justice Department official claims she was dismissed for opposing the reinstatement of Mel Gibson's gun rights. Tulsi Gabbard has withdrawn security clearances for several high-ranking Biden officials and individuals who criticize Trump.
Amazon will start streaming Trump's The Apprentice. Trump announces his purchase of a Tesla to demonstrate support for Musk amid declining sales, and he vows to classify assaults on Tesla sites as domestic terrorism. The California Pension Fund designates Chevron and Saudi Aramco as climate investments.
Microsoft Threat Intelligence revealed that a malvertising campaign results in information stealers being hosted on GitHub. NTT acknowledged that hackers obtained details of nearly 18,000 corporate customers during a cyber attack. Federal authorities connected a $150 million cyber hiss to the 2022 LastPass hacks.
Carlos Slim has decided to sever his connection with Elon Musk's Starlink, and is instead investing a substantial $22 billion in establishing his own independent network. In a separate development, Airtel has declared a partnership with SpaceX to introduce Starlink's high-speed internet services to its customer base in India. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is attempting to arrange a meeting with the Italian president in an effort to rescue the Starlink deal, following reports from 7 days ago that Italy is becoming hesitant about proceeding with the agreement to utilize Musk's Starlink.
Direct eye contact with Mark Zuckerberg, according to a new book. Additionally, a former executive claims that Facebook employees would intentionally lose board games against Zuckerberg. During the 2 sessions in Beijing, there are indications of increased protections for delivery riders. Meanwhile, Deliveroo has withdrawn from Hong Kong due to pressure from Meituan Zap, and Uber has halted its acquisition of Delivery Hero's Taiwan Foodpanda business because of regulatory challenges. Ukraine has accepted a 30-day ceasefire in exchange for weapons from the United States. Meanwhile, Poland is seeking 100,000 volunteers to undergo military training in 2027. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, advises that governments should utilize EU loans to purchase goods from European manufacturers. Additionally, Bloomberg highlights that Estonia's startups are finding opportunities in Europe's rapid rearmament efforts.
California prisons restrict inmate movement following a series of 7 homicides. Redfin reveals that the top 1% of wealthiest Americans have the financial capability to purchase 99% of the homes available in the country. The increasing worldwide demand for matcha is causing a shortage in Japan.
Spain is set to implement significant penalties for failing to label content created by artificial intelligence. In the European Union, Apple and Meta have managed to steer clear of fines that could have reached up to 10% of their global revenue, instead encountering only minor sanctions. Meanwhile, Google has updated its Chrome extension policies in response to the Honey link scandal, now imposing restrictions on questionable affiliate extensions such as Honey.
In the United States, Senator Cynthia Lummis has reintroduced the Bitcoin Act, which proposes enabling the country to purchase $80 billion worth of Bitcoin. Meanwhile, Coinbase has registered with India's Financial Intelligence Unit and intends to launch crypto trading services within the year. Additionally, Thailand has given the green light for USDT and USDC to be traded on cryptocurrency exchanges.
TikTok plans to implement a 10 p.m. curfew for the majority of teenagers. LEGO is establishing an in-house game development team, creating a new studio. Waymo is providing round-the-clock robotaxi services in Silicon Valley.
The U.S. Department of Education has reduced its workforce by approximately 50%. The White House has clarified that former President Trump will not reduce Social Security or Medicare following comments by Elon Musk. The U.S. Department of Defense has revealed that the Pentagon is cutting back on social science research to focus on fiscal responsibility and technologies for future battlefields.
Musk has stated that Doge cryptocurrency is present in nearly every federal agency and intends to increase the staff by a factor of 2. Meanwhile, Harvard University has decided to halt its hiring process amid threats from Donald Trump to withdraw funding. Additionally, Reuters has reported that Trump is considering the establishment of minerals refining facilities on Pentagon bases to enhance the United States' production capabilities, according to sources.
During a speech at Harvard, the former Prime Minister of Israel humorously suggested he would provide protesters with exploding pagers. A comedian who made disparaging remarks about Puerto Rico at a Trump rally has secured a deal with Netflix. China is set to convene Russia and Iran for discussions on nuclear matters, coinciding with Trump's efforts to negotiate a weapons agreement.
Trump said Russia had all the cards, but this ceasefire proposal just called Putin's bluff. China to host Russia and Iran for nuclear talks amid Trump's bid to make a deal on weapons. Iran's president to Trump said, "I will not negotiate, do whatever the hell you want."
Greenland's gradualists towards independence triumph in the election, coinciding with Trump's promise to control the region. Trump envisions the U.S. annexing Greenland, despite a NATO leader informing him that the organization will not engage in any potential takeover. Additionally, Greenlanders reportedly reject Trump's advances, with rare earth minerals influencing coalition discussions. The Pentagon is reportedly instructed to offer military options to guarantee U.S. access to the Panama Canal, according to a memo. Meanwhile, China advises C.K. Hutchison to reconsider its Panama ports deal, criticizing the plan to sell Panama Canal ports to BlackRock as spineless. 10 months prior, China secured the bid to construct Georgia's new Black Sea container port. Putin and Lukashenko have signed a protocol allowing Belarusians and Russians to vote in local elections in each other's countries.
Jr. proposes that contracting the infection provides the best immunity. He also associates the measles outbreak with inadequate diet and health, referencing unconventional theories. Additionally, Germany's BND suggests that the COVID pandemic was probably triggered by a laboratory accident. Furthermore, a study indicates that the U.S. duck population has decreased by 30% since 2017.
JP Morgan reduces its price forecast for Tesla shares, anticipating decreased deliveries. BMW reports a 37% decline in yearly net profit and cautions about weak Chinese demand. Mercedes introduces an entry-level electric sedan as a competitive move against Tesla.
Pete Hegseth plans to reform U.S. military lawyers to ease war rules. A UN probe declared the Israel attack on a Gaza IVF clinic a genocidal act. Migrants still at Guantanamo Bay have been relocated to Louisiana for deportation, with Trump considering the Wartime Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to facilitate these deportations back to Guantanamo.
The New Republic states that Trump's FBI is taking steps to criminally charge significant climate organizations, and the EPA head intends to reverse numerous environmental regulations, among them those concerning climate change. Bill Gates' climate group has reduced its policy teams in the US and Europe. Los Angeles experiences a major winter storm, prompting US and Europe. Los Angeles experiences a major winter storm, prompting evacuation warnings, rescues, and a tornado.
Oracle is leading contender to help run TikTok in New Deal. In the US, Senate unveils its bid to curb US investment in China as House waits. Don't use China as a hedge against US, Beijing's envoy warns Japan.
Research indicates that 1 in 15 adults in the United States has personally encountered a mass shooting. A study has discovered connections between hostile tweets and the individual's upbringing as well as legal issues. Meanwhile, millions of individuals are joyfully participating in Holi, the vibrant Hindu festival of colors.
Largest investment ever in the cryptocurrency sector, with Abu Dhabi SMGX committing $2 billion. According to WSJ, the Trump family has engaged in discussions with Binance after the crypto exchange's guilty plea. An administrator of Garantex has been apprehended in India at the behest of U.S. authorities.
Putin calls for the army to liberate the Kursk region while Ukraine retreats. Reuters indicates that Russia seeks proposals from companies for sanctions relief. The Kremlin communicated to the U.S. that it did not wish for Trump's Ukraine-Russia envoy to participate in peace talks.
Astronomers have found 128 new moons around Saturn. Unlike Earth, Mars's middle atmosphere seems to be influenced by gravity waves. The rescue of stranded astronauts is postponed due to a launch cancellation by SpaceX and NASA.
In the United States, prestigious universities are implementing stricter budgets and limiting admissions due to federal funding instability, and Harvard has paused hiring as Trump contemplates withdrawing funding.
Elon Musk claims that Doge is present in nearly all federal agencies and intends to increase the staff by twofold. Doge suggests reducing the IRS workforce by approximately 20%, and Bloomberg reports that Doge has 10 employees at Social Security searching for deceased individuals. The U.S. Postal Service plans to reduce its workforce by 10,000 following an agreement with Elon Musk's Doge. Elon Musk secretly visits the NSA after stating the agency requires an overhaul. A U.S. judge mandates that Doge and Musk provide records related to cost-cutting measures. Reuters indicates that Trump is aiming to establish minerals refining operations on Pentagon bases to enhance U.S. production. According to sources, Dollar General alerts that the financial situation of low-income Americans is deteriorating. Citigroup intends to significantly reduce IT contractors and hire employees to enhance controls.
Arms production. A week ago, it was noted that markets are eager for EU war bonds, and Poland's president is calling on the U.S. to relocate nuclear warheads to Polish soil. Lukashenko claims that Americans lack a strategy for conflict in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Putin supports a U.S.-crafted ceasefire proposal but mentions certain nuances, and U.S. intelligence indicates that he still aims for Ukraine's domination.
With Barack and Michelle Obama reportedly in discussions to serve as producers. Versace is entering a new phase as Dario Vitale assumes leadership, following Donatella's decision to step down.
Trump warns of a 200% tariff on European wine and champagne following the EU's suggestion to tax American whiskey. Tim Wall states, "We wouldn't be in this mess if we had won the election." The Hill notes that reductions in NASA's budget might hinder America's plans for Mars, potentially leading to the cancellation of significant space missions.
Saakashvili has been given an additional 9-year prison sentence due to charges of embezzlement. Meanwhile, Portugal is preparing for an unexpected election following the government's failure to secure a vote of confidence. In a significant development, Armenia and Azerbaijan have reached an agreement on the terms of a treaty.
Anthropic's CEO suggests an AI quit job button, leading to doubt. OpenAI states the AI race is concluded if training on copyrighted material isn't deemed fair use, labeling DeepSeek as state-controlled, and advocating for bans on PRC-produced models. French publishers and authors file a lawsuit against Meta for using copyright works in AI training.
Mozilla claims that Google's final remedy proposal in the US DOJ case will negatively impact independent browsers. 13 months ago, iRobot, the maker of Roomba, expressed substantial doubt about its ability to continue after Amazon terminated their deal, leading to a 31% staff layoff. UB Tech from China introduces a $41,000 humanoid robot as part of its effort to create more affordable machines.
Japanese scientists have successfully produced a large number of cells for sperm and eggs using human-induced pluripotent stem cells. Beam's base editing therapy has demonstrated proof of concept in a rare lung disease. Research indicates that brain aging undergoes non-linear transitions, pointing to a midlife critical window for metabolic intervention. SoftBank and OpenAI will operate AI agents at the former Sharp LCD plant. The Financial Times highlights that DeepSeek prioritizes research over profit, unlike Silicon Valley. Singapore prosecutors reveal that a U.S. server fraud case includes $390 million in transactions. 3 weeks ago, 3 men were charged with fraud, and the cases are connected to the suspected relocation of NVIDIA chips.
BBC executives argue that the World Service should receive complete state funding to combat disinformation. Meanwhile, Newsmax has agreed to pay $40 million to settle a defamation lawsuit related to the 2020 election. Additionally, Meta's community notes will incorporate open-source technology developed by Elon Musk's X. Comcast secures a $3 billion agreement to retain the rights to the Olympics until 2036. Spotify introduces an initiative to release audiobooks by independent authors. The unproduced Star Wars Underworld television series by George Lucas was estimated to have a production cost exceeding $2.4 billion.
Detained in Belgium during raids related to EU corruption. China establishes a secure quantum satellite communication link with South Africa.
Trump requests Supreme Court permission to implement a birthright citizenship ban in certain states. The U.S. and Israel are considering Africa as a destination for resettling Palestinians displaced from Gaza. An international group of Catholic bishops is participating in a march and vigil in Texas to protest against what they describe as immoral mass deportations.
Musk suggests Stalin and Hitler were not responsible for the millions of deaths. It was public sector employees who did. Trump accuses Schumer of being a Palestinian while justifying GOP spending bill, egg prices, and tariff policy. Washington Examiner observes that
NASA analysis shows unexpected amount of sea level rise in 2024. Melting Antarctic ice sheets will slow Earth's strongest ocean current, and Earth's strongest ocean current could slow down by 20% by 2050 in a high-emissions future. At least 32 dead as tornadoes sweep through parts of U.S.
Trump promises to reveal his adversaries in a political speech at the Justice Department, labeling CNN and MSNBC as illegal for their negative reporting. Trump refers an 18th century law to expedite deportations, but a judge halts it shortly after, as the White House declared the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act concerning the Tren de Aragua invasion of the United States. Additionally, Trump annuls nearly 20 executive orders from the Biden administration.
The Justice Department is considering terrorism charges against pro-Palestinian demonstrators at Columbia University. In the United States, more than 50 universities are being investigated under Trump's campaign against DEI initiatives. A woman involved in a protest at Columbia University was detained for immigration violations, while another individual chose to self-deport, according to DHS. Ukraine's President Zelensky expresses optimism about concluding the war. Following a request from Trump, Putin announces he will allow Ukrainian troops in Kursk to remain if they surrender. Zelensky denies any encirclement of Ukrainian troops in Russia's Kursk region, accusing Putin of deceit. Trump clarifies he was being somewhat sarcastic when he claimed he could end the Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours. Meanwhile, Germany secures an agreement to significantly increase spending on defense, climate, and other areas.
AI researchers doubt that current models will result in artificial general intelligence. A Japanese startup, Sakana, creates the world's first AI-generated paper, which successfully undergoes peer review. Experiments suggest that ChatGPT is seen as more empathetic than human crisis responders. Foxconn supports AI servers following a decline in profits and predicts robust growth in AI server demand by 2025. JP Morgan engineers experience a 20% increase in efficiency due to a coding assistant. TechCrunch notes confusion about the definition of an AI agent. Amazon will no longer allow users to opt out of sending Echo voice recordings to the cloud, with all Echo interactions being sent to Amazon beginning March 28.
Baidu, a Chinese company, introduces a new, complementary AI model to challenge DeepSeek. Meanwhile, Sesame, the entity responsible for the popular virtual assistant Maya, unveils its foundational AI model. Additionally, China mandates the labeling of online content produced by AI. Will Smith is planning to release his first full-length album in more than 2 decades, titled Based on a True Story, which is scheduled for a March 2025 debut. Meanwhile, Sony is developing a reboot of Starship Troopers, with Neil Blomkamp set to direct a new adaptation of the science fiction novel. Additionally, Stephen Curry has made history as the first NBA player to achieve 4,000 three-pointers.
In the U.S., the housing market is tightening, with the income required to purchase a typical home increasing by 79% over the past 5 years. Bloomberg indicates that Gen Z Americans lack sufficient savings to cover even a single month of expenses. Additionally, in the U.S., a staggering $12.5 billion was reported lost to scams and fraud in 2024, disproportionately affecting older adults. Rubio announces South African ambassador to the U.S. as persona non grata due to Trump comments, while the U.S. expels the ambassador, accusing him of hating Trump. The EU removes Russian oligarchs from its list following sanctions pressure from Hungary and Slovakia. China's intense criticism of the Panama port deal places pressure on the Li Ka-shing family. Chinese scientists have engineered E. coli to become photosynthetic. MIT engineers have successfully converted skin cells directly into neurons for use in cell therapy. The spraying of water microdroplets creates luminescence and initiates chemical reactions in the adjacent gas, with tiny microlightning flashes within water droplets potentially having ignited life on Earth.
RCS Update introduces end-to-end encryption, with Google and Apple confirming their support. Apple will soon enable encrypted RCS messaging with Android users. An internet breakthrough sees the unveiling of the world's first operating system for quantum networks, QNOT-OS, which is the first of its kind and sets the stage for future quantum applications. A Chinese team has officially reported on Zukanzi 3.0, claiming a speed-up of 1 million times over Google's Sycamore.
Memo.
China pledges increased investment in the challenging endeavor of job creation. Hong Kong is preparing to lift the storage limit for embryos and gametes. Wind and solar energy have surpassed coal power for the first time in the United States.
China's observatory in Chile faces uncertainty due to U.S. concerns about possible military use. After 43 years of engineering, China's indigenous beef cattle breed is set to debut globally, with its first export to Laos. Documents reveal that a Vietnam regulator has proposed approving Chinese Comac jets.
Japan's Supreme Court sets the stage for the Unification Church's dissolution. Indonesia starts discussions on permitting soldiers to hold civilian positions. Cloudflare's CAPTCHA system seems to obstruct specialized browsers like Pale Moon.
Use an air taxi service in the UK in collaboration with Virgin Atlantic. Tesla is considering a more affordable version of the Model Y, and a self-driving upgrade to counteract the decline in sales in China. Waymo received almost 600 parking tickets in San Francisco last year. U.S. weather agency job cuts may threaten climate risk data, insurers caution. VOA journalists placed on administrative leave following Trump's decision to eliminate the parent agency, and Voice of America terminating contracts with Associated Press, Reuters, and Agence France-Presse. Vance anticipates a significant TikTok deal by the April 5 deadline. Bloomberg notes that AI enthusiasm is spreading throughout China's political circles, boosting tech optimism, and that DeepSeek, a national treasure in China, is now under strict protection. In the U.S., the House GOP has issued subpoenas to major tech companies, seeking evidence that President Biden influenced AI to adopt progressive views. Additionally, the FBI and CISA have alerted that 1.8 billion Gmail accounts are potentially vulnerable to the Medusa ransomware.
Observing scenes from nature has been shown to alleviate pain, according to a neuroimaging study.
A midlife waist-to-hip ratio that is lower is associated with a longer duration of cognitive function. Research indicates that brief alterations in diet can result in obesity.
Delivery driver suffers severe burns from hot tea at Starbucks, receives $15 million compensation from LA jury. SpaceX reveals that not all dying Starlink satellites completely burn up upon re-entry. Sweden's Klarna announces a 24% revenue increase in its eagerly anticipated US IPO filing.
Syria has been killed, according to the Iraqi Prime Minister. The United States has initiated significant airstrikes targeting Houthi positions in Yemen, resulting in at least 9 fatalities, as former President Trump declares decisive and powerful strikes on Yemen's Houthis, warning hell will rain down upon you. Acute malnutrition rates have increased by 2-fold within a single month in the northern region of the Gaza Strip, as reported by UNICEF.
Nationwide demonstrations are being organized following the detention of a former Columbia University activist by immigration enforcement. Hamas declares it will only free the American-Israeli hostage upon the execution of a ceasefire agreement, while Israel continues its military operations in Gaza despite the truce. A pro-Israel organization claims to possess a deportation list and has reportedly submitted thousands of names to Trump administration officials.
21 Shares plans to liquidate 2 Bitcoin and Ether futures ETFs due to the market downturn. Block is focusing on lending expansion following a stock slump 1 month ago, as reported by Reuters. Binance CEO suggests Trump might influence a global pro-crypto movement.
Crypto password cracking firm Unciphered faces turmoil due to co-founder's controversial past. Dual Russian and Israeli national extradited to the United States for his involvement in the Lockbit ransomware conspiracy. Pirate Bay financier and far-right activist Carl Lundstrom passes away in a plane crash.
EU plans to allocate $5 billion to South Africa following the withdrawal of U.S. aid. The Atlantic notes that Democrats in the U.S. face challenges with male representation. In the U.S., local funding for initiatives like airports and mentorship programs is